probably the most important part of your retirement plan is how much to withdraw from your assets each year. If you use a very high rate, then you can end up with no assets. If you use a very low rate, then you're living below what you could be living. Now, let's look at a couple options and see how that shakes out in the real world. So, a lot of people will use a calculator like this. It's a 5% withdrawal rate, and they'll see, I only need 880K for 50K in income. Now, the issue with this calculator, these are all pretty accurate assumptions of the average returns over the last 50 or 100 years. And you can see how it has a very smooth curve where you get 7% each year, inflation is 3% each year, and you withdraw 5% roughly each year. Obviously increasing it later in life. But you can see how it's a perfect curve. Now, life isn't like that. Let's say we use a Monte Carlo simulation with annual withdrawal being 50K. You get a 68.6% success rate. We'll call it about a 70% success rate using a 5% withdrawal rate. Now, the issue with that versus the issue with this calculator is not that it's using wrong numbers, it's that it's not accounting for volatility. For instance, if you retired right here, you'd have a great run. You'd make loads of money. If you retire here, then not so much. And it took till 2017 for the S&P to make a new inflation-adjusted high. That's 17 years of no returns. That doesn't work with this plan. Now, if we use a more conservative 4% allocation, or withdrawal rate, you can see how it says you only need $704,000 in savings. But if we look at this simulation, let's use 4%, you can see it's about a 90% success rate. Now, that's great, 90% success rate, but there's another 9% that you might be a little worried about. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to run out of money, definitely in 10% of the scenarios. What it means is that in 10% of the scenarios you adjust. For instance, let's say you retire here. Maybe you buy a little less, maybe you live in a smaller house. But you can use 4%, roughly, as an equivalent for how much money you need to retire. Now, there are people out there where we're in a extended bull market, and a lot of people are saying, look at the last 10 years in markets, you could have used an 8% rate of return or some other very high number. Now, that works great if you retire right here and you withdraw 8% a year. That works great because markets ripped. However, if you look at it from an actual perspective of what could happen if you retire here and you withdraw 8%, then your life is over. You've withdrawn so much of your assets that you have nothing after only a short period of time. You might literally run out in 10 years in this scenario. Now, this doesn't mean a number saying 91% success doesn't mean that that you keep this withdrawal rate throughout your entire retirement. For instance, in the other 10% of cases, as I already mentioned, you might adjust. Or let's say you're 5 or 10 years in and you realize, I have way more money than I started with. You can adjust that higher so that you're withdrawing more. But the number is constantly moving. 4% is a good place to start. And you can use that for when you're preparing for retirement. If you're interested in more content like this, or if you want a deep dive conversation with us, then you can please like and subscribe, and you can go in the description to my contact page. Thanks for watching.